Hello, everybody, and welcome into the recruiting rundown here on Gamecock Central. Wes Mitchell and Kendall Smith joining you here to talk all things recruiting. Wes, I know it's your favorite part of the entire week, right?
It is, of course. Yes.
Well,
Happy
we
to be here, Kendall, and happy as always to talk recruiting.
Well, we have a lot to talk about here today. South Carolina continuing to make moves. We're officially in the dead period as well. So we'll talk about what that means. We've got some upcoming visits that are on the books for South Carolina. So all of that in store on today's edition of the Recruiting Rundown. But we want to start it off by talking about yesterday's National Signing Day. And we already knew that this was happening for a while, but it was kind of just like the ceremony, I guess you could say, the cherry on top of the ice cream sundae for Donovan Murf. He's a 2025 four-star wide receiver out of Irmo High School. Yesterday, he signed with South Carolina. We already knew that this had happened well over a month ago, but it was kind of the fun ceremony, if you will, Wes, to kind of tie the bow on this.
Yeah, and I was over there at Irmo High School, and just let me tell you, Kendall, phenomenal kid, phenomenal family, great program over there as well. They had several other of their, of his teammates signing to other schools, other sports signing as well. So went over there to check it out, and I'm telling you, impressive kid on the field, is going to go out there and make plays for you at wide receiver, is a part of this signing class that I think is going to completely reshape that wide receiver room for Mike Furry. And we've just seen him add four-star after four-star. And, much like you called it the cherry on top yesterday, he was kind of the cherry on top for that class as kind of the last guy to at least publicly get involved when he committed at that Under Armour All-American game. And so, I think you've got a number of kids who are going to come in and potentially make an impact. And talking to Donovan yesterday, all of his boys, all of his teammates, all these guys he's gotten to know during the recruiting process, they're already there. They're already at South Carolina. They're enrolled. They're going through winter workouts. They will go through spring practice coming up. And Donovan, since he, is going to be an early enrollee in terms of reclassifying, he was originally 26. Now he's 2025. He's having to wait till sometime in May, but he's still chomping at the bit. He's doing everything he can to get ready, doing some Zooms, staying in touch with his teammates, like trying to do everything he can to learn what is going on there right now so that he is ready. And I've been telling everybody I can after being over there, could not be more impressed with him and his family. And I think is going to be an impact guy for South Carolina sooner rather than later. And I thought some big words from his coach, Aaron Brand, who said, look, this guy set the standard for wide receivers in our program moving forward, which, I don't think high school coaches say things like that very lightly.
Yeah, and we've talked about so many times on the show since last season ended for South Carolina football, how we feel like the wide receiver room will really be controlled by a lot of these younger guys. So really promising talent coming in for South Carolina. Donovan Murf, obviously one of those guys, and the Gamecocks continue to shine with their recruiting in the state of South Carolina. Obviously, Irmo just right down the road from the University of South Carolina. So I'm sure Murf and his entire family very happy to be staying close to home. But the recruiting train continues to move. So we've got Murf from yesterday. We've got more coming for South Carolina. And we're going to talk about this 2026 class a lot more, Wes, as we get closer to these official visits. Some of them starting to get on the books right now. We're going to see more and more of this. So as of right now, what is the word in terms of official visits with 2026 guys in the coming months?
Yeah, Kendall, it's crazy how quickly, like how early these guys go ahead and set visits now. And if people have been following us on social or on GamecockCentral.com this week, there's been, I want to say, when I wrote a Carolina Confidential earlier this week, there were 6 new official visits just this week in terms of being publicly confirmed. I believe while we're recording this here on Thursday, I believe we're up to 8 for this week. And that's not even including the ones that I'm sure have probably already been set behind the scenes that just have not sort of leaked out or been given out by the prospect yet publicly. So it is really a busy time. It's kind of fascinating how these kids kind of follow the same trends. And right now the trend is use that sort of January window to take some visits, unofficial visits, to meet with coaches who have been on the road for pretty much almost that entire month, and then use all that data you get, decide who you want to see in these official visits, which is where you really kind of can lock in and see what a school is all about. So right now, lots of guys setting official visits. setting those top 5s or top 6s or what have you. And really some guys that we've been talking about for a long time. Samari Matthews, who's actually up near your way, Kendall, at Huff, a 4-star cornerback, really one of the top defensive backs in the country. He's locked in as OV for the summer. Ryan Mosley, 4-star wide receiver from Georgia, officially locked in now. Noah Clark, who is from Durham, North Carolina, he's locked in for June 6th. Going all around, there's a kid from Maryland, a 4-star cornerback, Corey Adams. He's locked in now as well, and that's certainly not all of them, just to name a few of the prospects who officially have locked in those official visit dates for the summer. Right now, Kendall, it's looking like May 30th, June 6th, and June 20th will be kind of those 3 major weekends for South Carolina. And as we know, it's only February 6th, so this stuff is still a little bit fluid. There will be names on these lists that ultimately maybe they don't visit. There will be names on this list that the date gets moved. And of course, there will be names on this list that are not on this list that will be added in the foreseeable future. So very fluid, but you're starting to already get a sense of what this summer might look like.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, we'll continue to keep everybody updated on GamecockCentral.com, on social media at Gamecock Central, when we find out who will be visiting the University of South Carolina on OVs this upcoming summer. It's always very exciting to think about, and Wes, we've talked about it on the show several times, just what those official visits look like. I mean, it truly is a full production, and we can go more in depth about it on another day, but everything that South Carolina and their entire staff is doing to make sure that these guys feel welcome, they feel like they truly are at home. I mean, they're doing it all. So we'll talk more about that later, but those official visits are certainly something that a lot goes into. So a busy few weeks for South Carolina that will come up this summer, and we will keep you up to date with everything on GamecockCentral.com. But right now, people are probably like, okay, like Shane Beamer and his staff maybe get to pump the brakes a little bit, take a little bit of a break, because we are in what is known as the recruiting dead period right now. But Wes, that doesn't necessarily mean that South Carolina isn't making moves. We've actually got a video right here of an example, I guess you could say, of what Shane Beamer has been up to in the dead period.
Yeah, I was going to say, not so fast, my friend, as the great Lee Corso would say. Still plenty going on. And so right now, South Carolina, you can still communicate with prospects, even though it's a dead period. Dead period is a misnomer. All that means is that you're not hosting prospects on your campus, and that the coaches are not going on the road right now. They're not allowed to go to the high schools or to go have those in-home visits. But still lots of, of course, Twitter DMs, text, calls, and then, of course, in today's world, videos. And the coaches can actually send, these are personalized videos for all these top prospects. And these were floating around social media this week. And this was Beamer's, I believe we've got Tamarian Watkins, who is a Rock Hill, South Carolina Northwestern High School. Let me get that one right. Those folks will be pissed at me, but defensive back, stud, big time prospect for South Carolina. And this is Beamer's video to him.
T. Watt, what's up, bud? It's Coach Beamer. Love being at your school with your mom and dad last month. Really enjoyed visiting with you guys. Love what you're about as a player. Excited for all the opportunities you have in front of you. You know where home is. The best players in South Carolina come to South Carolina. This is home. We're going to win a national championship with players from the state of South Carolina. We are full speed ahead on you and the class of 26 now. Go Cox.
This place is absolutely rocking.
We're fireproof. Nobody blink, man.
Man, this is a team that's peaking at the right time.
South Carolina, one of the hottest and dangerous teams in the country right now.
I think Kendall just committed during the video.
Yeah, I think I did. I mean, that was great. Honestly,
you know where home is.
Coaches, that line is my favorite line. For some coaches, it's like pulling teeth to get them to do it and make it look authentic. I'm not going to say who, but we all know certain coaches we can think of in the college football world where it just wouldn't come across like that. For Shane Beamer, hopefully in a long time, when he decides he wants to finish his coaching days, he's going to have a great career in TV, because he is so great at just being able to communicate on camera the way that he does. It's really impressive. I mean, a video like that, it goes a long way. So yeah, good stuff from South Carolina, even in the dead period when you would think that not a lot's happening, right, Wes?
Yeah, and all those videos, like I said, were personalized. They were not, it was not the same video to every prospect. And I don't know if I'm going to read between the lines a little too much, but But yeah, I am. I just got to feel, even the way Beamer said that, like the two of them kind of maybe already know that Tamarian might end up as a Gamecock. Lots of what I'm hearing out of York County up there is that South Carolina is in a great spot there with him. He's visited a bunch. Carolina was the first major offer. He loves T. Gray. Georgia trying to get involved there, but I felt like the unspoken vibe of that video was that you're going to be a Gamecock. So we'll see if that ends up playing out that way, Kendall.
Well, we will have to see. So much to still find out about this 2026 class. It's going to be really, really exciting. But Wes, I think that's going to do it. We try to keep these recruiting rundowns
Keep it light, keep it
really short so that, you guys can watch them quickly, listen to them if you want to. So yeah, I think we're pretty much at our cap for today. But the good news is that we do these every single week. So keep up with us next week. We will have a new recruiting rundown coming your way because there's always something going on in the world of recruiting, as I say every single week on this show. So again, head over to GamecockCentral.com. Follow us on social media at GamecockCentral. Subscribe to our YouTube page. We've got live videos that come out almost every single day. And then be sure to follow us on our personal X accounts as well. Wes always has a ton going out on his with information about South Carolina. So follow us, stay up to date. We appreciate all of you, as always, for tuning in to this edition of the Recruiting Rundown. We hope you have an amazing rest of your week and weekend. So for Wes Mitchell, I'm Kendall Smith. This has been the Recruiting Rundown here on Gamecock Central. We'll see you soon.